Hello, and welcome to the Rise and Divine podcast. Welcome back. So, this is my second episode of my New Vision series. I started this series when I was just rebranding and just like really reframing everything within my business, and that is what my first episode is all about. So we're here for the second episode. It's all on consistency and habit building, which is really exciting. But I got really distracted because I literally just witnessed a fly get murdered by a spider in my house, and it was buzzing really loudly. I can just see this spider on top of it, and then the buzzing just stopped. So I'm like, I think I just witnessed a murder. Like, what is going on? But let's get straight into it because I'm recording this as well. So if you know, like I like trying to record my podcasts on my phone and upload them to YouTube. So I don't edit anything, I just riff. So, you're getting the real authentic Isla here. So habits and consistency. I've got 4 different parts that I want to talk about with this and just really sort of layer it out so it becomes more clear. The first thing is worthiness. So when you're trying to integrate habits and make them consistent, one of the main things that catches us up, and I've noticed this within myself, within my clients, is worthiness, and really believing that you are worthy enough to integrate this habit into your life, and believing that you are worthy enough to start something new and, do something for yourself. When we're so used to one way of thinking and one way of living and one way of just being, detaching from our old self and becoming something new is one of the hardest things I think us as humans experience, because we're just so set in our ways. Like, we're so used to being comfortable, and everybody wants to be comfortable. Nobody wants discomfort, and that is where a lot of people, I think, struggle, because they're used to being comfortable. They're used to living their lives and doing what they always do, and the fear of the unknown, the fear of change, the fear of newness, it keeps us stuck and it keeps us small, and it's not beneficial. Even though we know that starting or integrating something new, or we know that there's something that we like, that if it's on our heart and if it's on our mind, that means it is meant for us, and it is essentially like the universe's way of telling us to do it and to start. But we are our own worst enemy when it comes to this, because we will try and keep ourselves safe, because we think we're detecting fear. We're not detecting fear. We are detecting fear, but we see it as like this really big thing, like, oh my god, what is going to happen? We think the worst, so we feel fear and we don't do it, and that stops us. But yeah, I'm here to tell you that worthiness is probably one of the biggest things that is stopping you from integrating these habits and making them consistent. And this is especially true for me when I was trying to stay consistent with the gym. When I first started out, I would start and stop, and I just was really struggling with staying consistent, really struggling. Like, I remember just saying to myself, like, why can I not just stay at this? Why do I feel good some days and feel good like the other days? Like, why is it that I'm on and then I'm off, I'm on and then I'm off? And I just couldn't get my head around it. I think it just comes down to that worthiness issue, and pursuing it no matter what. Like, no matter what you're feeling in that day, don't base it upon how you feel. That is how we keep them consistent. It's about, the longevity of the habit is not about feeling good all the time, because if you felt good every time you, say for example, went to the gym, it wouldn't be a habit. So that is just something to bear in mind as well, and really get deep on this. Like, journal this out. Why don't I feel worthy for this? Whatever it is, like, there's so much that I know a lot of us want to integrate, whether it's fitness, wellness, lifestyle habits, relationships, boundaries. It can be like financial, it can be savings, it can be career, like studying. There is so much that, I feel like we want to change, or there's so much that we want to integrate, like little things here and there. But yeah, it comes down to worthiness. Sit down, write down why you feel like you're not worthy of this. Like, what is it that you feel like is holding you back right now? And really like unfold that and really get to the root of that, because that is the first step. And like I said before, like performing a habit when you feel good is not what is going to make it consistent and sustainable. Like, even in those moments where you feel like unworthy, you know, performing the habit when you feel unworthy is a part of the process and a part of making it consistent. I hope that makes sense, because you've got to understand why you're feeling unworthy, but know that it's okay if you feel unworthy again. If you feel those feelings again, it doesn't mean stop or give up, okay? Second bit of advice is start small. Please do not think that, you know, you need to go 100% in on your habits when you decide that you want to, you know, integrate something into your life, because it's not going to be sustainable. Like, if you've not ever meditated before and you think I'm going to do an hour a day, you know, you might last 2 days and then you're going to give up, most likely, unless you're like Superwoman. Because it's just not, like, it's not sustainable. It's not what you're used to, and your brain in your body is going to try and fight it as much as possible, because it's outside of its comfort zone and it just doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel secure. So start small. If you want to do an hour, great, that's amazing, but start off with 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that is all you need to start with the habit, to just start making it a consistent habit into your routine. And if you want to do it daily, just start as small as possible. Even, for example, like a couple of minutes. If you've never meditated before, if it's a completely new thing for you, start with a few minutes and just make sure you do that every single day. And almost don't lie to yourself. Like, everyone has a few minutes within their day to do that. So try not to make up excuses like, oh, I don't have enough time. Like, if it's a habit that takes 5 to 10 minutes, we all have a spare 5 to 10 minutes in our day. I can promise you that you will make time for that. And a lot of habits, I feel like they can be integrated in small chunks, which leads me on to my next point. And I was going to say as well, so yeah, you're going to increase that over time. Like, if it starts off at 2 minutes, you're going to build that up. It's all about layering and building it up, okay? And then my third bit of advice and tip is break it down. And if you want to split it up. Like, when you start to build it up and it still feels a little bit difficult and you're still struggling to keep it consistent, do like 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, or, you know, go on your lunch break. If it's, say, for example, like prepping your meals, prep a few meals on a Sunday night and then prep a few meals on a Wednesday night. Like, don't think you have to do everything all at once. It's all about making it manageable for you and your lifestyle, because if you throw too much at yourself, it is just gonna, like, it's just not gonna be beneficial. And I think we're the worst at that. Like, humans are the worst at just putting so much pressure on themselves and trying to how do I say this, I'm trying to find the right word, like, we just overachieve a lot of the time. We're overachievers naturally. Even if you don't feel like you are, you probably are putting a little bit too much pressure on yourself. So strip it back and break things up, break things down, make things manageable for you. Otherwise you're going to feel overwhelmed, and overwhelmed will lead to procrastination, which will lead to giving up, and that's not what we want. So finally, don't be hard on yourself. This leads on to my last sort of bit of advice. Please don't be hard on yourself if you slip up. If you're finding it hard and you're really feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can continue doing this, or, you know, like, I'm really struggling with this certain habit, just keep going regardless. Keep going regardless of how you feel in the day, in the moment. Like, keep trying. And if you don't feel like doing like an hour in the gym that day, do 20 minutes. Like, that is okay. Remember, you're starting a whole new habit into your life, especially something like the gym. That is a big thing. So don't take that lightly, and be kind to yourself during that process. Like, don't think that you can manage everything and take on a really huge amount, because, you know, it's got to be manageable for you, and it's got to be in alignment with your life and your lifestyle. But it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You 100% can. Just break it down, start small, and be kind to yourself, okay? And also stop comparing yourself, because the more you're comparing yourself to other people, the harder it's going to be, and the more likely you're going to be to trip up. I know it's hard, but just stay in your own lane. Like, remember, you are your own person, you're on your own journey. There is nothing that you need to compare yourself to, and the person you're comparing yourself to is probably comparing themselves to someone else as well. So yeah, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to say. And also, just remember that it will start building as well. So even if you're getting into a mindset where you're feeling like, I don't feel like it's going to work for me, I feel like it's going to, I feel like, you know, giving up, I really feel like this is not for me, just keep going, because you will start to see it build. And when you start to see it build, that is when it will become the habit that you wanted it to become in the first place. That is when it will really be integrated, and you won't even think about it anymore. It will just become a part of your life. So yeah,